PHARAOH, East New York, Cold Black Committee, Brooklyn, we back. I want the game, baby. Let's go. The more things change, the more things stay the same. Ain't nothing new under the sun, it's just a different name. And we to blame that the lame's getting all the fame. To make it plain, yo, it's time to take back the game. The more things change, the more things stay the same. Ain't nothing new under the sun, it's just a different name. And Pharaoh's here to make them feel the flame, bringing misery to the industry where energy they claim. These mortals hating on the Pharaoh cause they know I'm living proof of the potential of my people when they stop forgetting truth. But I'ma spread the message, getting busy in the booth. Get a vision to the youth, just like Kizzy in the Roots. Manipulating you because you're thinking like a baby. They got hip-hoppers looking like rockers in the 80s. In the old skull t-shirts, tight pants, brought the Jordache look back. And I'm scared it might last. No, I ain't the type to criticize and pass judgment, but it don't take much to realizing that we bugging. Was born in the wild, free lunch and summer use. I'm groomed in the styles, 8 balls and bubble goose. Brothers looking like Boy George and George Michael. Signs of the times, mind states and moon cycles. Falling for banana in the tailpipe tactics. Africans barely hanging on the edge of blackness. The more things change, the more things stay the same. Ain't nothing new under the sun, it's just a different name. And we to blame that the lame's getting all the fame. To make it plain, yo, it's time to take back the game. The more things change, the more things stay the same.
Peace and blessings of the Most High, the balance, omniverses, tri-verses, multiverses, dual verses, and universes be upon you all, family, and earshot and eye shot of the God. It's your brother Pharaoh, Chef C's Duamu Tefamun, the Amatata Fafamun, and I am a student teacher of the master teacher, Pa Nabab Yananin, His Excellency, known as Dr. Malachi Kobina Zadak York. And I like to say that that's an honor, a privilege. It's a supreme privilege to be a part of this beautiful Nuwaubian nation. I'm on deck. I want to say that I stand firm, unshakable, ratub, on the fact that His Excellency is innocent of all charges that have been concocted against him and during the course of his kidnapping, and that he will be free. He is free. Akfushu. Okay, so on today's episode of Nuwaubian Now, all right, because we're Nuwaubian, this is our time now. Nuwaubian, our land, our state of mind. We have to get that thing concentrated. We have to focus our energies. I love all the brothers that stepping up. I'm watching the Facebook and the YouTube. Everybody stepping up. Everybody putting it out there. 7 billion people on the planet. See a lot of brothers and sisters start acting up like, well, why are they talking? Who told them to make a tape? Why are they doing this? Why are they doing that? Listen, we Nuwaubians. We talk. That's what we do. What else you gonna do with all that information flying through your head? If you don't talk, you end up talking to yourself going crazy. So, today's subject matter is, well, the title of this class, I'm going to call it something politically correct. Witches and white women. That's what today's class is called. So, we're going to go over witchcraft and its relation to us as Nagaru, and how we have to overcome these enchantments and these incantations and so-called black women, Nuwaubian women, Nagar women, and how they're affected and controlled by these spell-casting sorcerers, namely white women. Now, first and foremost, excuse me. First and foremost, throughout the course of this transmission, you're going to be hearing chant. I don't like even call it a song because I was like really in chant mode that I put together called Akfushu. Akfushu means free him, and this chant will be on a compilation album, mixtape, CD, EP, whatever you want to call it, that I'm putting together called Black Rage. Black Rage. That's what it's called. So I want y'all to pay attention to what it is. You know, the whole idea was the 3 tones in one. That, you know, Panda Bab told about the 3 tones in one. And so, you know, I did some things, man. You know, hopefully I like it. Y'all can pick it up on the Black Rage LP. That'll probably be in stores by the summer, something like that. I got some joints on there. Y'all get ready. Okay, so we're gonna go in, man. Excuse me again. We're gonna go in because these are the wrong joints right here, man. We definitely gonna go in. Okay, so we know that according to Genesis, it says that the NEFERRA, or the 200 fallen angelic beings, jinns, you know, 200 fallen cherubims, came down and said they came down and laid and had sex with the daughters of men. Or they took all, it says the women were fair, and they took all that they wanted, and they gave birth to giants. And they said there were giants in the earth in those days. And the daughters of man laid with the sons of God. Okay. Also in the book of Enoch, it speaks of the same storyline, but it goes a little bit deeper, and it explains how those 200 that came down. First of all, it goes into them having a pact with each other. You can see that in the movie that the Kakasu's just did, Noah. And inside that movie, it shows it even utilized the names that's inside of the book of Enoch that we have inside the holy tablets, you know, with Sam Jessa and all the rest of that stuff. As far as the names of the 200 fallen, the agreement that they made when they decided to come down and violate the pact of overseeing and watching, being the Igigi, and coming down, and they laid with the daughter of the man. They had children, and the children were mighty men of renown, or giants in the earth in those days. But inside the book of Enoch, it explains how these 200 fallen taught them magic. It taught them sorcery. It taught them the separation of roots or science of herbs. Taught them witchcraft. The 200 fallen taught them witchcraft. Why is this important? Because Panabab explained to us that it was the Kakasu women that were taught the witchcraft that cast the spell on the Nagaru for the 6,000 year spell of ignorance, the spell of sleep. It was the Kakasu woman. See, I'm emphasizing this, witchcraft and white women, because both Nagaru male and females dropped their guard with dealing with the Kakasu female. Both black men and black women. One, black men always think with they, you know what I'm saying? The phallus, black men think with their phallus. And so, that's one part. And so being we've been subliminally trained to look at white women as attractive, beautiful, sexy, etc. And now they have big butts. So it's definitely on. And this is a long-standing thing, because even back in ancient Tamaray, when the Hyksos or the Hikakasut, when they invaded with white women. Yeah, they invaded with white women, or even with the who was that had the immigration laws? We was taught about Khufu, and his son wanted to be with one of those Kakasu women, and the Hikakasu women, and the immigration laws forbid it. Um, Khufu Khufu broke the laws, or destroyed those laws in order for them to come in, and they sent armies of women in. And this is how these are one of the ways that they infiltrated the power structure of Tamaray, and and basically usurped us, because they gave birth to hybrid children that were both Nagaru and Hikakasu, but they raised them to think like them. Because now we're talking about a state of mind. A lot of us are Negropeans because of this. We have black skin, minstrel face. We have white minds. Okay, so the in addition to that, the black male has always looked at the Kakasu male as being he's the visible aggressor, as his known enemy. And the reality is that he does the bidding. He's like the police, policy enforcer. But the one that enforces the spell is the white woman, who is used for sex, who is used to proliferate and infiltrate to get in. The white woman who not only uses the black man, the Nagaru man, but uses the Nagaru woman. Used her for her women's liberation, women's lib, used her for her feminine, super feminine extension of that, which was the quote unquote homosexual situation we got going on right now. It was the Kakasu female that was instrumental to manifesting a lot of these movements and convincing the Nagaru woman to join her. Did you just see that last women's um parade march meeting that they had over there in what was that, DC? And it was like almost a millions of women. But what were they talking about? Huh? What were they talking about? What did y'all figure that? That was crazy. What were they talking about? All that power, all that spending power. Anyway, you black women, you have to learn to pull away from these Kakasu women. The reason why we haven't been able to do it is because there is an enchantment, a spell casted upon us. The master teacher said it was cast upon us 6,000 years ago, and it's a spell. First of all, it's in the words. You have to spell it in the words. Trick knowledge in the words. This is why no matter how conscious the brothers and sisters are, brothers are still calling the sisters queens, knowing that the etymology of the word means whore. And they can say what they want to say. That's not how I mean it. Whatever. You're calling her a whore. That's a fact. So with the idea is to understand that we're going through what we're going through due to spells and sorcery. And even right now, in Bushwick, where the PHARAOH #1 for the Nuwaubian Nation is, there's a massive influx of the gentrified Kakasu coming through, and most of them are witches and warlocks. And I could tell you that there's 24/7 spells being thrown and casted around the temple and around the nation. So it's crazy over there. Okay, so inside the book of Revelations, you know, Revelation, what's that? 1823? I think it is 1823. It speaks of the devil deceiving the whole world, using sorcery. The word that he used, that's being used for I had my Injil over here too. But the word that was being used for sorcery in the Greek is pharmakia. Pharmakia is pharmacy. Pharmacy, drugs. So sorcery and witchcraft goes hand in hand and literally is drugs. Drugs are a physical, tangible way or transmitted utility for sorcery and witchcraft to be exercised upon people unbeknownst to them. So this is how these people have been controlling our minds. The religions have been used to cast spells and control our minds and souls for 6,000 years. The literary works, through the spell and a lack of knowledge of the language and origin of words, have been used to cast a spell and hypnotize us and trance and control us for the last 6,000 years. And drugs, pharmakia, are a part of this spell also, and another way that the sorcery has controlled us. If you think about it, when you talk about drugs, you have the illegal drugs, crack, cocaine, PCP, marijuana, which is legal in a lot of places. You know, they doing that purposely. Now you can legally numb the people. Like they legally numb the people with alcohol, which is another drug. And think about alcohol before I move on. Alcohol, you had to have a gin license. You had to process it in a gin mill. You know, and gin is another name or the Arabic word for demon, or for an angel or demon. Inside the Quran they use it, jinns, and how talk about how the jinns come in tribes and families. So, and when they used to, back in the days, they used to call the spots, the liquor stores that we call now liquor stores, they used to call them spirits. You have bars and saloons that sold spirits and food. One used to be right there on Jamaica Avenue on Suffolk Boulevard, right next to the pizza shop. It was one of the last remaining stores right at the train station across the street from the Long Island Railroad, so Brooklyn, New York, y'all. And walk up the Suffolk train station from the J and the E, and it was right there on your left hand side, and it said food and spirits, because you're taking in spirits. This is also why when our people are drunk, they look like they possess. They act like they possess. And Ponder Bab explained how those spirits be trying to move our people and push them to shed blood and cut themselves and hurt themselves so that they can fully control and inhabit those bodies. So another thing that we're not looking at when we're talking about um, drugs is food. Show this to the people.
I'll start with health. Health is our natural state, our nature, real state. The word nature comes from the Egyptian word NTR, and it's the same word that gives us, as I mentioned before, it's the same word that gives us the word nature. And notice that we even still attach mother to the word nature, don't we? Okay, so the word health, the word wealth, the word well, the word whole, the word holy, and the word heal. Health, wealth, well, whole, holy, heal are all variations of the same word, and it means to be one, to be whole, to be complete. to be in balance. Of course, we're able to achieve that in greater and greater degrees by getting closer and closer to Mama. Now, it's extremely important that we learn about health, wholeness. When we connect the dots, we confirm what we may have suspected, what we have read in conspiracy books. There really is a conspiracy to keep us sick. Why? Because if you take the first letter of the word sick and you draw a line straight through the middle, money. It's incredibly profitable to certain interests on the planet to keep us sick. Sickness in America is a $1 trillion a year industry. $1 trillion, I can't even imagine that. Imagine 2, 3, 4 atom bombs dropping on America every 2 to 3 months. In effect, that is what is taking place because over 250,000 people in America die every 2 to 3 months from degenerative diseases caused from largely consuming what I call drugs masquerading as foods, which is the name of my book by that title. Therefore, if we don't want to become a statistic, it's imperative that we take full responsibility for our health. This means that we have to have an investment in re-educating ourselves about our bodies, about our systems, about the food, about the environment, because on all ends, everywhere, we're under attack. This is by design. There's a document called Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars. Has anyone heard of that? Well, this document was found in an Army surplus sale in a Xerox machine about, let's say 25 or so years, in the 1970s. And in this document, it details item by item how essentially a war has been declared upon us, and that instead of shooting you with a bullet, that's the old-fashioned way, they would shoot you with a donut. They would shoot you with a cell phone. They would shoot you with the computer. They would shoot you with situations. People instinctively know that something is wrong, but they can't put their finger on it. Well, now we can put our finger on it. We're under attack. We're under attack 24/7. If we don't know this, we become like sitting ducks. We're led the way they want us to go, and we seem to be powerless to do anything about it because we don't know that we're under attack. So once we know we're under attack, at least we can take provisions to protect ourselves. See, it's just like the drugs masquerading as foods. It tastes so good. Who wants to give it up? That's how they seduce us. That's how they trap us. They make it look good. They make it feel good. They get us used to it. It feels comfortable. It's right here beside me. I want to talk about the major causes of dis-ease and sub-health. I've already addressed a few. The first cause of sub-health is dehydration. We ain't drinking enough water, period. There really is no substitute for water. We drink milk, we drink soda pop, we drink coffee, we drink organic juice from the health food store, but it is not a substitute for water, plain water, even the water from your sink, from your faucet. The second major cause of dis-ease and sub-health is inferior food, otherwise known as drugs masquerading as foods, a very large subject. We are overweight, but we are actually malnourished. We are starving. If we could get some high quality, superior nutrition into our cells, we will discover that the craving for food would go away, will disappear. The way the food is produced in this country is an abomination. The food is bad enough that it's grown with pesticides. They take the food and then they put outright chemicals in the food. You cannot pronounce the names of the ingredients. When you go to the supermarket, read the ingredients. Can you pronounce it? Even if you can't pronounce it, don't eat it. Your body treats it like it is a drug because that's what it is. You eat that food, and what happens is your metabolism goes up, your heart beats faster. The reason for this, and your white blood cell count goes up. The reason for this, your body is going, this is bad for me. I must get it out of me as quickly as possible. So that's why your metabolism speeds up. It's trying to quickly evict this toxic food from your system. The problem is that we're eating this kind of food all the time. So this means that our body is in a constant fight mode, trying to fight all these things that we're putting in it. And that leaves little energy left to regenerate our cells, to rejuvenate our cells. We can greatly reduce the toxic load by going on a purification program. I'll discuss that. And also by changing what we put into our mouth and swallow. Ideally, it would be best if we could grow our own food. The second best thing is to buy your food from the health food store. You want organic vegetables. It's the best we can do. Even those organic vegetables you're buying at the health food store, they are hybrid. All our food, unfortunately, is hybrid. Grapes without seeds. Watermelon without seeds. Chicken that's making men grow breastises. In other words, they're putting hormones in the food, hormones in the chicken, the beef, making it grow incredibly rapid. That's against nature. That's away from Mama Nature. And we eat this food. The food is turning some people into homosexuals. That's how bad it's gotten. And it's continuing to get bad. But we can do something about it. We still have the ability to choose, and we need to exercise that. That's being rapidly deleted from our society with this encroaching, impending New World Order. But just like that school of fish, flock of birds, that suddenly made that U-turn, we can make that U-turn. There doesn't have to be an imposition of a New World Order in America. As long as we are continuing to deny ourselves, we're actually inviting denial in various forms external to us. I'll explain that. We microwave our food, just like we microwave our head with our cell phones. Your microwave oven, you need to throw it away. It's very, very bad. It vibrates the food at billions of times per second. Billions of times per second. That food is not food. Even though it looks like food, it ain't food. You're going to put that in your body, and your body's going to scream, "Ah!" and continue to do that. It's amazing how much assaults we are taking. Anyway, this explains why so many of us are in poor health. We're supposed to be healthy right up to the day that we decide that we're going to leave. Just look at your watch. Okay, I'm ready to go. You don't need to be taken out. You don't need to die of some slow disease or some accident. You just decide, okay, it's time. And then you go. You still ain't dead. The body is gone, but you're still alive. We can't die. Cooked food. This is a hard one. I'm not telling you, look. When you learn this information, if it's your first time, go easy on yourself. Be gentle with yourself, okay? Because you've been years building up to where you are now. And for you to suddenly change, you're creating shock, trauma. So So by taking it in degrees, that's more better. That's easier, and you can psychologically adjust as you remove the white sugar from your diet. That's the #1 drug masquerading as food. You're going to discover to your amazement that most of the food in the regular commercial supermarkets have sugar in it. It'll say maltose, dextrose. They put sugar in the salt. Don't take my word for it. Look at the ingredients. Buy a box of salt. Look at it. It says dextrose. Now, why would you put sugar in the salt? Sugar is deadly. It's legal crack. It tastes so good. It feels so good, just like that cell phone. We don't want to give it up. Fortunately, there's something we can do about it. There are some sugar substitutes, like maple syrup, 100% maple syrup. I list some others in my book, Drugs Masquerading as Food. For every drug food I expose, I give you alternatives which taste just as good, if not better, and is much better for you. Sugar causes micro explosions in your body and it kills your cells. Sugar depletes your minerals. When you eat white sugar, it immediately passes through your stomach wall directly into your bloodstream. It makes your sugar level goes up, that alarms your pancreas. So it sends out these little guys to get that back in balance. This goes back and forth. You're on your way to becoming a hypoglycemic or a diabetic. Just get rid of the sugar. Whereas the maple syrup, it goes into your bloodstream more slowly. Your body likes that. And it has minerals in it. White flour is #1, white sugar is #1. White starch is #2. White grease is #3. White salt. Why is this food white? It's bleached. Now, you know what happens when you bleach something? Ain't nothing there. So the food has literally no nutrition, just calories. It is truly a drug.
Drugs masquerading as foods, deliciously killing Africans. So Suzar, who authored that book, shout out to Suzar, broke down how most of the so-called foods we eating are really drugs. Really drugs being pumped into our systems under the disguise of looking like and feeling like food. So now you have the legal drugs, pharmacia, sorcery spots. Then you have the illegal drugs, where brothers cooking and chefing that stuff inside their houses and selling it. And you have food, which are also drugs, which is why large percent of the population are overweight and obese, because the body craves the nutrients and vitamins and minerals, and it has to eat 4 and 5 times more than usual in order to get the basic minimum amount of minerals and vitamins that the body needs. And most of us live in what was called food deserts, meaning there is no real food where we live at. Food deserts. Research it, and you'll see that 99% of us live in food deserts. You go to the store, it's a bunch of junk food. When we call it junk food, when junk is something that you throw away, and food is something that you eat for sustenance. Like, think about that. So you eat food for nutrition and sustenance to live, and then you throw away garbage or waste or junk. But then they want to call it junk food because they know it's garbage. And some of us even say, I'm going to buy some garbage. I'm going to eat garbage. We even say that. So that food that you eat, one of the reasons why you can't stop eating is because you're addicted to it. So research that. Research Suzar. Go and look up Suzar's book, Drugs Masquerading as Foods. You can also look up Dr. Laila Africa's book, Nutricide, to show how they're killing people through the nutritional value in the food or lack thereof. Okay, so let me give you a modern example, present day example of confirmation of witches. Y'all see them every day. I'm gonna say it, and y'all gonna be like, "Oh, this dude, he went in, he bugging." Okay, the Kardashians. The Kardashian womanhood or sisterhood is a modern day famous witch coven. The mother is the head witch. Yes, she is. Bruce Jenner. Anybody know Bruce Jenner from back in the days? Caitlyn Jenner right there. Bruce Jenner was one of the most aggressive, manly alpha men in sports.
Jenner's really piling up the points. He sprints through the hurdles for 866. He hurls the javelin for 862. He's done it! Bruce Jenner set a new world decathlon record.
I spent a good part of my life getting ready for that day. I worked out a lot, ate a lot of Wheaties. Because a complete breakfast with Wheaties is good tasting and good for you.
Take it from Bruce Jenner. Wheaties is the breakfast of champions.
Bruce Jenner wasn't playing no games. That power inside that circle, that coven that they have in there, is so intense that it took him and made him want to be one of them. He couldn't even be around them anymore if he wasn't one of them. It's not just that. The daughter Kim, tell me what Kim do. What's her talent? Yeah. I'm waiting. Yeah. What's her talent? See, them smoky heifers, that's what we call them quote unquote white women. They look like they could be Indian. They look like they could be Spanish. They look they could play. Those are smoky heifers. Them smoky heifers right there. Her talent was having sex with black men and putting it on camera. And now they got the nerve, the audacity to try to put her up there with, like, you talk about Kanye, talk about Beyonce and Kim, and they should be looked at the same. How? All that work that damn Beyonce done put in, and she's supposed to be an equivalent because she slept with Ray J? This nigga crazy. Them smoky chicks, they're from, let me show you right now.
I mean, if we were together, our babies would be spectacular. I mean, with my top of the pyramid Caucasian genes and your splash of dark, beautiful, smoky Baltic, check.
This is where they originate from. They're people. They originate from what's called Cappadocia, Turkey. And in Cappadocia, Turkey, they have what's called the Darenkuyu caves. It's a picture of the Darenkuyu caves. This is coming out of the the mitochondrial DNA, 18 plus 18 plus 1, 37 genes of the mitochondrial DNA. And on the next page, you see them walking on fours. Yep.
About 4 million years ago, our distant ancestors did something amazing. Something that changed them forever. It is the moment for many that we made the leap from ape to man. Imagine then if somewhere very remote there lived human beings who had never made this leap. People who have somehow remained hidden from the wider world. In early 2005, scientists made an extraordinary discovery. A family that shouldn't exist. Charles Darwin's theory about the origin of man is taught in schools, but deep down the belief is that man is God's special creation, separate and distinct from four-legged beasts.
No one would want our ancestors to have walked around on all fours. It's the symbolism of it all that's not really accepted. And when it comes to human evolution, it's not necessarily what happened that we accept, but almost we accept the stories that allow us to view ourselves in a positive light.
But occasionally ancient genes do resurface, giving us a glimpse into our distant past. Excess hair and monkey-like tails are extremely rare, but extra nipples are very common. They're found along what's called the milk line that runs between armpit and groin, as it does in dogs. Creationists simply dismiss fossil evidence of early man, which even top paleoanthropologists admit can be hard to interpret.
Truth is, you can't make massive decisions with these little bones, and you can't, from a little fragment, tell the whole behavior of the animal.
But what if there was living proof of a four-footed human ancestor? Regit Ulash has fathered 19 children, a lot even by local standards in this remote Kurdish village.
It's wonderful.
12 of them were born totally healthy, but 7 weren't, 6 of whom survive. And the first hint of the problem soon appears from down the road. This is Gulin. At first sight, he looks drunk. But he isn't. There's something wrong with his balance. Still, he's on 2 feet, not 4. But then, one by one, the other children appear. There are 4 young women and 1 young man. Hussein has walked like this for 28 years. It is uncomfortable and moving to witness the extent of this family's problems. It is very difficult for us to walk like this. We may have done something like it as babies, but for human adults it feels very unnatural. And it's so tough that the US Marines use it as an endurance exercise. How come they're like this? How do they cope? But 3,000 miles and a world away in Berlin, German geneticists are working on the family's DNA. And Professor Stefan Mundlos thinks the answer lies here, in these test tubes containing the family's blood. Herein, he believes, lies a great scientific prize: the identification of a gene for bipedality, the very essence of what makes us human.
I think this is very novel because it has never been described before that people are able to walk on their fours. So usually I think the opinion was that this is not really possible, and let alone that it's genetic.
Modern genetics has revealed something amazing, that our DNA holds great secrets about our distant past.
We have still in us genes and functions from all our ancestors. And these genetic research has shown that we have, for example, many genes that are completely conserved between the fly and humans. So you can even exchange them and they will still have the same function.
The German team believes a mutation in the Turkish family has switched off a gene for upright walking, allowing a much more ancient gene to resurface.
Evolution is progressive. You get layer upon layer of adaptations added on top of what was already there. And obviously, like in a building, you can pull away the superstructure and sometimes reveal the original foundations. That can happen.
The Berlin team has already found a patch of DNA where the family's mutation lies.
That's the root seed of that coven of witches over there. Another confirmation. Lamar Odom messing with the one Chloe. Drugs, sex force, witchcraft, drugs, sorcery, all coming back around together. Another confirmation. Kanye. First of all, after Kanye's mother was sacrificed, I don't know if he did it or they did it to get him away from, because his mother would have talked him to get away from that goddamn Kim. It might have been them. They might have sacrificed her like the royal family over there in England sacrificed Diana. But Kanye came out the hospital. They talk about he missed some of his memory. And the nigga came out the hospital looking like Wesley Snipes and Demolition Man. Will somebody tell me why Kanye looked like Wesley Snipes and Demolition Man? Come on. Why nobody see nothing wrong with that? Those women are witches. And this is not this is not the first time that they use those smoky Turkish looking hybrid witches to subdue us. Let me tell you something. We have a history. Go back and listen to the slave trade class Panabab did. In the slave trade class, Panabab broke down. What he said? Hold on. Crazy, y'all. He said the Salem witch hunt. He says all the cities. We look up in the country, you'll see a bunch of towns and cities called Salem. In every town and city called Salem, they had witches. Why did they have witches synonymous with Salem? We know that Salem is Arabic word salam for peace. And when you add the mu to salam, you have one of peace. So the Muslims represented at that time two things. One of peace, an individual that lived in Salem or came from Salem, and someone who practiced the religion of Islam. So during the slave trade, the Muslims were put in those towns. They were marked Salem. One's of peace. This is the peaceful one. The Kakasu female, the first breed of them, the blonde-haired, blue-eyed, the Marilyn Monroes, when they came through, they raped the men. They took the Mafkuzet from them. That was done not in public, but in secret. The second breed of them, who were hybrids, now that was a different scenario altogether. They were able to get in with them and subdue them. And they had those witches in each and every place where they had those captives. Those special blood people, those people that were thinking differently. They even separated them from the ancestral, the people that was dealing with Yoruba or voodoo or Uru and even Santeria. All the people that were still dealing with ancestral worship were separated from the quote unquote people of Salam. And keep in mind where Salam come from. The king or the king of peace, the king of Salam was Melchizedek. Melchizedek was the king of the city of Salam. And it's crazy because it's a Hebrew, supposed to be a Hebrew book, but they use Salam, they don't use Shalom. That's also an indication, a hint that the book was originally in Arabic and it was translated into Hebrew. But Melchizedek, Malachi Zadok, was the king of the city of peace, and Jerusalem or Darussalam, which city of peace, So it still go back to anyway. They were surrounding us with witchcraft every step of our life, and if you think about it, we go back to food, drugs, sex, words.
So what do I mean by the secret spells of the English language? Well, let me share with you what I call our premier life sentence. And it goes something like this. We awake each morning and go off during the weekdays to earn the living at various jobs and undertakings until we come to the weekend. And this seems perfectly acceptable to most people. However, more people die between 6 and 9 on a Monday morning than any other time of the week. So I do what I call a translation of the English language, and I spell that Trance, with the idea that words cast spells. So when you translate that life sentence, you remember that awake is a funeral party for the dead. Mourning is the state you're in when you attend a wake. And you would have to be in a weekdays to earn the living, since urns are for the ashes of the dead. We call our jobs undertakings. Job itself is a Hebrew word for persecuted. And what we get at the end of this perverse bargain with life is the weak end of the deal as we become progressively weakened ourselves. And so our most prevalent greeting to each other is hello, the reverse of which is, oh, hell. And at first, I suspected the hands of collusion entangling the language to foster illusion. And I think it's quite true that a culture's theology has a great deal to do with a word's etymology and how it evolves over time to combine incompatible meanings that may undermine the original thoughts it was meant to define. But now, I don't think it's planned, for the thing that I've found is that like concepts can gravitate toward the same sound and vibrate at the rate that our thoughts designate. Because words are electromagnetic vibrations whose fine alphabetic tintinnabulations can take on the tint of our true expectations, which they then imprint on our metal of mind, causing sounds to adhere when they're of the same kind.
All dealing with sorcery, spells, and incantations. A lot of the music that's going on, we know from back in the days in the 70s and 80s, we knew, but these babies right now don't know. They're out of tune, they're out of whack, and we're not teaching them anymore. Getting back in tune with the science of music. You know, the fact that the rock and roll and the pop and the music industry itself, period, their first line is to enchant and to summon demons into the music and try to sell it to the people. And they'll send those demons off to wherever the master is dubbed and sent to, those demons go to. And remember when we used to play the songs backwards? But what we don't pay attention to is a lot of these singers speak in witch tongue. And witch tongue is similar to legalese. And in legalese, you sit there and you're talking, and you can understand and comprehend what the individual is saying, but the translation is different inside a court of law than it is when you're having a conversation with somebody in the house. And that's what's going on inside the music business with them singing, and you think you got it, and you ain't got it.
I sit on a council of 13 people that take orders only from the Rothschild Tribunal in London, which they claim they take their orders directly from Lucifer.
I was the manager of Zodiac Productions, which Zodiac Productions, its name's been changed since then. I'm not even sure what they call it now, but it's the largest music conglomerate in the world. It owns RCA Records, Columbia Records, Motown Records, owns almost all the concert booking agencies in the United States. And that's not even the name of the company that owns it. The name of the company that owns it is Brenner Enterprises, and Brenner Enterprises is owned by Chase Manhattan. Chase Manhattan's owned by Standard Oil, and Standard Oil is owned by the Lords of London. You can track it all back. You kind of get the idea after a while. But I was the managing president of Zodiac Productions. It's one of my jobs as being one of these 13 people. Thus, I got to know many of the people who produce music and sing the music and play the music that you play. Now, one of the closest friends that I got during that time that I obtained was a man named David Crosby. Crosby, Still, Nash & Young. And I saw David the day before Christmas last year, talked with him. I got him away from this witch that he had with him. He told her to go shopping. We were in West Hollywood, and I was witnessing around to people I knew. We went off in this store, and we started talking. I said, David, I'd like to ask you a couple questions. I said, I already know the answers, but I've been gone for 5 years. I'd like to know if certain things are still the way they were when I left. I said, now I'll have to explain some of this when I'm done, because you're not going to understand it all unless you know something about music. I said, do they still take the master to the temple room? Dave said, yeah. I said, do they still have the coven conjure demons into the master? He said, of course. I said, now, I got to know something. What's the main reason for rock music? He said, come on, Lance, you know what the reason is. I said, please, David, I don't want to guess. Tell me what the main reason is. He says, the same as when you were in, so that we can play spells on people that we couldn't cast spells upon. I'll explain what that means in a minute. I said, okay, one last thing. I've been hearing that you must be an initiated witch now to get a record contract. He said, that's right. He says, many of us that weren't total witches have to be witches now in order to produce music. I said, thank you. This is why a master's cut months in advance before it's released. On the full moon, it's taken into a temple room about the size of this auditorium that is in every one of the major music companies, behind locked doors up in the executive offices. And it's placed on an altar, sitting in the north of the room, and a pentagram engraved in the floor. And 13 hand-chosen witches and wizards and a coven come in and conjure a principality or a power up, usually Regia or something like that, and order him to tell the demons under him to follow every record and every tape coming off of that master. And rock music is not just a song. It is supernatural music that witches carefully designed by their spirit guides or familiar spirits in the form of spells. Now, although the devil's music's power is the music and God's music is the words, much of the songs are written in what we call witch language. Give you kind of an idea. Many of you talk on a CD, unless you know what a smoky is, and a 10-4, and a front door and back door and rocking chair and these type of things. You don't know what you're talking about. Same with witches. When you're in the first and second level, you have to learn over 2,000 words that said by anybody else mean something totally different than when you say them. Elton John has said he's never written a song or sung a song that wasn't in witch language. And I want to show you something.
Okay. So, there was something else that was deep. Okay, the sisters, we gotta start stepping our game up. Sisters, this time is your time. Master Teacher said inside of the procession book, talking about the cycles, that this is your time, that this is the black woman's time, that this is women's time to rule. Mitochondrial DNA, this is your time to rule. But first and foremost, it's going to be the African woman. Why? Twofold. First, because she is the first woman on the planet. She's the first being, period. That's the first reason. Second is because he explained that every 13,000 years, that there's an energy that shoots from the core, the feminine core or sun, Anun Reye, up to the surface of the planet Earth. And it moves every 13,000 years. For the last 13,000 years, it was sitting in what's known as the Middle East, Saudi Arabia. So, and that was the root of the patriarch system. Now it's shifted, and it's in Afafriyeka. It's in Africa. And the people in Africa are going to feel the shift and feel the energy and the things that go pushing towards bringing women back to their rightful place as the leaders, matriarch of the families, the tribe, communities, the planet. It's going to be met with resistance, but it's going to come nonetheless. Now, you sisters have to be prepared. This is why the orders and things that the master's teaching us is important, because it's preparing you. Now, sisters better get into that OES. They better start studying. They better start practicing. They better get this doctrine down pat, because the Picasso women are not playing with y'all. They're not playing with us. They've never been playing with us. And they've been the ones behind the scenes controlling all of this stuff. Okay? We made a mistake, us, as far as brothers. We thought the attack was on us, for us. No, it's just like the Willie Lynch. The attack on us was to get to our women, because the woman is the power. How the Bab called I forgot which update or what class it was, but he said sacrament, sakimtat. He said the woman is the 9 ether. He said 9 lives. And he says she is our power source. So I really I wanted the brothers and sisters to start focusing on that and getting their head right and get ready. Get ready, because it's about to go down. It's not going to be easy. They're going to resist. But we have our own. This is black magic versus white magic. White magic is religion for the last 6,000 years. The incantations through spells and the origin of words, the sex force. All that stuff is white magic. All that stuff is white magic. How they blind you and they use sex and drugs and the illusion of the fame and all that stuff. That's white magic. Black magic is ours. Natural nature. Black magic is wu-nuwaup. Black magic is our thing. This is black magic versus white magic. Black magic is not dark magic, which is evil and wicked. We are talking about black people utilizing the natural energies that we're born with, natural nature and the universal energies that we exhibit. That's what we're talking about. We're not anything dealing with blood sacrifice and stuff that has nothing to do with it. I wouldn't have thought it don't require that. Those are disagreeable, flesh-eating demon gods. So that's their stuff. All that's their stuff. And they use our symbols. A lot of times they use our tamarind ancient Egyptian symbols because remember they invaded parts of Egypt. Keep that in mind. They invaded parts of tamarind. And then they started taking our stuff and perverting it. You know? So, let me read something to you real fast. Let's see. I don't want to hear nothing. He's gonna be upset. Okay, the females of the Kakasu females, all forms of incantations and sorceries, these mukshafu witches practices these arts as crafts of white magic and casted a spell of sleep called Kingu to rule and to have dominion over all. Yet this power was not to last forever, for over time, and with mixing with others of flesh, the powers given them would fade. Their overlords would not always judge over them as they started to live by the desire of flesh. So you had the mukshafu, or the female witches, the white witches, and they had the power to shapeshift to attract their man. And copulated to give birth to more masculine to protect the feminine of their tribe. To this day, when women live closely, it's talking about the menstrual cycles. And upon the Gardo feminine, they founded a secret order of Hathor and the arts of black magic to create talismans rituals with the Natharu, who would come to Earth every 60 to 70 days when Orion and Sirius was above. So the female, the matriarch system that we had was in place because just like the 200 fallen came down and laid with the Kakasu women and they violated them and they wiped their memories, so they don't know why. That's why they had so many sexual perversions, because they got violated. Them niggas came down and freaked off crazy. But our women, the Nagara women, every 60 to 70 days when Sirius and Sabotage, Sirius and Orion were in eye shot, the Nathar would come down and they would copulate. That's why the sisters, the high priestess, or the oracles, as they called them, would have temple beds for the Nathar when they manifested in flesh. So the Nagaru, the women had the secret order of Hathor in the arts of black magic, and they had what was called, what was the Mumasu? The Mumasu is what they called our women. The Mumasu or the oracles or those who pray, Mumasu, is what they call the wu-nuwaupian women who practice the craft. Okay? Let's practice the craft. Sisters, get into your craft. And these were mediums that commune with the deities. You know, they could heal, they could foresee, and help the tribe and guide them. This was the Mumasu of the Nagarus. Those who pray, the ones who pray. And they had what was called, I'm looking for it, because the Kakasu had what was called the order or the mistress, Mukshafu, mistress of the white dog. And the Nagaru woman had what's called the mistress or Munmasu of the black cat. So you had the mistress of the black cat and the mistress of the white dog. So you had the Mukshafu, mistress of the white dog, versus the Munmasu, mistress of the black cat. It is not a game or a plaything for the insane or those women who want to be what they are not by birth. It's a birthright. And not all women born under the four signs. I ain't giving you, I'll give you just a sneak peek. You're about to get this in a minute. Don't worry about it. And they've been practicing magic for 6,000 years. That's why I'm going to leave it at that. So anyway, I ain't even going to tell you where I got that from. I'm just telling you that's part of Bab. And he's breaking down the Mukshafu versus the Munmasu. The Mukshafu are the witches, mistress of the white wolf, versus the Munmasu, which are the Nagaru, mistress of the black cat, or Kamin feminine, you know. And the Kakasu women are not playing. They never stopped. Y'all gotta learn. They never stopped doing what they do. Remember a lot of y'all used to play witches when y'all was younger? They used to have little witch groups, and you used to think about that. Like, that's why you do, because it's in your nature. You have those abilities. They know you have those abilities. They want to take it from you. Now I'm saying, let's get this thing reestablished. Get back into your own. Get back into your stuff. And let's all become ones who pray. I mean, we can't be females who pray, because they ain't, unless, I mean, some of y'all talking about y'all golden children, golden men. I done heard dudes talk online talk about how they vibrate on both gender frequencies. So if y'all gonna try to commune with them, that's your business. If that's what you aspire to do, God, hey, you know, do you. I'm just trying to tell the sisters, listen, Kakasu's not playing. Their women are their power structure. Y'all brothers also, let me get to y'all brothers in a second. Their women are their power structure, and they're the ones who cast the spells. We got to stop giving them a pass. We got to be as hard, if not harder, on them than we are on their men. And we know that the men are not going anywhere. They're 5 ether beings. They can't go anywhere. The women have 6 ether and can be bumped up to 9 if they can steal the Maf Kuzet from us. And you know what? Thinking about that, let's go into briefly, because everybody talking about it, and I want to build on it, but I was going through my own stuff. Get out.
You got your toothbrush?
Check.
Do you have your deodorant?
Check.
Do you have your cozy clothes?
Got that.
What?
Do they know I'm black?
Should they?
You might wanna, you know.
Mom and Dad, my black boyfriend will be coming up this weekend. I just don't want you to be shocked that he's a black man.
I ain't never seen you like this before, bruh. Meeting families, taking road trips. Don't come back all bougie, man. Come back, got your damn pants up to your damn stomach.
So you guys coming up from the city?
Yeah, we're just heading up for the weekend.
Can I see your license, please?
He wasn't driving.
I didn't ask who was driving. I asked to see his ID.
Call me Dean and you're hungry, my man.
So how long has this been going on, this thing? We hired Georgina and Walter to help care for my parents. When they died, I couldn't bear to let them go.
Do you smoke in front of my daughter?
I'm gonna quit.
She'd take care of that for you.
How?
Hypnosis.
I'm good, actually.
You ready for this?
I'm back in the beat.
So look, I go do my research. Apparently, a whole bunch of brothers been missing in this suburb. But it's cool. Bro, how you not scared of this, man?
Good to see another brother around here.
Chris was just telling me how he felt much more comfortable with my being here. Get out.
Sorry, man.
Get out!
Yo! Rose, we gotta go.
Is everything okay?
Rose, the keys. Just get the keys.
I don't know where they are.
Rose?
Sink into the floor.
Wait.
Sink.
Mine is a terrible thing to waste. Terrible thing to waste.
If there's too many white people, I get nervous.
No. No. No.
A mind is a terrible thing to waste.
Now, Get Out was done by the dude Jordan Peele, the brother that I saw, bootlegging brother from Jordan. Was it Peele and what's his partner name? And they be doing the obnoxious, corny white humor stuff, and they just did the Keanu Thugged Out Cat movie. So anyway, he wrote it, produced it, directed it. I'm sure this was gonna be trash, but I kept seeing the damn attractions. So me and the wife, the goddess NEFERRA, Sanantat, Hatat. It said, yeah. So we went to see the movie. It was fire. But check it. So yeah, Key and Peele. So it was Jordan Peele. So he wrote the movie's crazy. He messed with the damn white girls, and they love each other. Oh, I'm gonna bring you up to see my parents. We're gonna go up there. Oh man, they having this big thing for the anniversary of my grandfather. You know, the father's a neural surgeon, and the mother is a psychologist, right? Okay, the mother's a psychologist. So they get up there and they see, they seeing brothers and sisters acting real weird and whatnot. And it's like, yo, what's going on? Luckily the brother that's the main character, he has a homeboy. Matter of fact, son from Carmichael. He played a brother in Carmichael on Channel 4. And his homeboy is like, nigga, don't go up there with the white folks. You crazy. But people in the white folks by themselves. Y'all can see it. Yeah, you see it a little bit. Yeah, Get Out. Go check that out. So it start breaking down how, spoiler alert, how these crackers is kidnapping niggas. They was using the white home. They was using this Mushafu, this white witch, to bring niggas upstate to the wilderness to them. Successful, very well off family. for years. And when they got them up there, the mother would hypnotize them. She would counsel them, and she had a system, a real smooth system of hypnosis. She would hypnotize them. The hypnosis was crazy. And I'm going to show you how this, we're going to have a build on the PHARAOH, the 30 spirits. And I'm going to bring this same synonymous, same hypnosis up, because it was a perfect illustration for what's going on inside of the subconscious mind. Inside, so when she hypnotized you, you would sink into yourself. And you would be at the bottom of a whale. A whale, not whale like whale of fish, but whale like whale with water, that you put water, you get fresh water from. Just for my people, that's ABE, that GED, they didn't get their jet, and they went to school like they was playing the X Games. Okay. So you be at the bottom looking up, and it's all darkness, and then at the top is almost like a TV screen window, and that's her face, and that's your eyes. That's where your eyes are at. You're lost in the darkness of yourself. So she had the ability to push you to the back of your own subconscious mind. That was important because what they were doing was they were taking black men, they were auctioning them off to rich, affluent Kakasu men, and then she would hypnotize, the mother would hypnotize them, and the father would do a brain surgery and transplant the consciousness of the Kakasu male into the body of the Nagaru male. This concept might be a little bit extra because of the fact that consciousness is really not inside of the brain matter. But what it symbolizes is how they can take you. Because Potter Bab said in The Man from Planet Risk that they have extraterrestrials that have the ability to take consciousness from one place, put it in another. And we've seen in the Avatar movie they was doing that. And what's that? Selfless is an excellent movie to go see with the dude that played Green Lantern. Then when he played Burt Reynolds' son, and he was in Blade, and he played Deadpool. That same dude. So in the movie Selfless, he played the dude. His body was bought and used for a billionaire's consciousness to be transplanted into him, and then he had to use drugs in order to suppress his consciousness, the original consciousness, to stay down while the elder Kakasu male controlled the body. So that movie's fire. But these are confirmations from Panda Bab. He said that they have the ability to exchange consciousness, to move one consciousness out and put another conscious inside. So this is what this movie was talking about, how they were kidnapping black men because of our strength, because our genetics. They would talk about genetics. They would talk about body build. They would talk about the physical aspects, the melanin, the strength, the flexibility, the speed. They loved it. I mean, the help that was there, the maid was a young black woman. She probably mid-30s, early 40s. Not even, right? I think early to mid-30s, maybe late 30s. The brother that was there, that was the hired help, he was like in his 40s. Turned out that was the grandmother and the grandfather. Spoiler alert. I'm saying, so this is just breaking down the fact that this is real. So even though Jordan Peele, he's married to a Kakasu woman, gives him first-hand relation. Think about all the so-called black stars that's married and messing with these Kakasu females, you'll start to see there's a consciousness shift. Then you be around some of these brothers and they don't even feel black. They look black, but you around them and you feel out of place. Like there's something wrong with this dude. That's what's happening to them. But it's not. You don't need the brain surgery to do it. It happens from being around them. It happens from eating their food, dressing their clothes, undercover brother, all that extra mayonnaise, and having sex with them, exchanging fluids. That's how it happens. You want to see the mitochondrial DNA, you got to go through that book because it's going to show you. I'm going to show you some pictures. They're disgusting. But I'm showing it to you anyway. And out of all the stuff I'm saying to you, if they get crazy with me, it's going to be because I'm showing you this. That up on the top is actually a picture of the leprosy bacteria that the Pleiadians smuggled into this planet in order to breed a hybrid race that we know now as the Kakasu, male, woman, and child. And we call it inside the tablets the human beast because they were a combination of a bunch of experimentations. So that at the bottom, that's what they look like genetically. That's in their genes. And every 300 to 400 years, they have to mix their genes in order for that not to come to the surface. This is leprosy. This is what they really look like. This is what's going on in their genes. I don't care how she looks on the surface. In her genes, that's what's going on. She needs to mix. They need to mix with you. They need to mix with us in order for that to be held at bay. Oh, absolutely. They're lepers, and they know it. And they call it Hansen's disease, which is really Ham's son from the Bible, which was Canaan. And Canaan was the cursed seed. And he had to go up in the mountains and took his sister for a wife. And when he was up there, he ran into these other tribes, or the Flugurads, and he took wives from their tribes. And he had the 11 sons of Canaan. So y'all have to know that this is real. This is real. Everything part of bad says is fact. It's going to manifest. It's going to come out. And trust, he don't want to see it. I'm telling you. We got to remember, it's not coming from him. It's coming through him. It's coming through him because he's a channeler. You know, we have to, you know, we have to get back, sisters. You have to start getting back into, well, let me first say, Father Bab is a channeler. He's a transmitter. The beings give him the message. He gives a message to us. Sisters, you have to get back in tune with nature. You have to start eating right. You know what I'm saying? Get back in tune with nature. And then that be the trigger, the chain reaction. Get back to stimulate the mitochondrial DNA and the utilization of the black magic. Reawakening the black magic. Shameless plug. One of those ways, natural nature herbal compounds. Woo! I'm trying to tell you, I need the natural nature herbal compounds where they got the shit. They got the sea moss compound called the Noon's Abundance, which gives you 98 of the 102 minerals that the body needs to survive. Real food. They got the edible green light. You know what I'm saying? Which is the green food formula. We got the cleansers, and we got the Jedi pillar, Return to the Jedi, which have brothers like myself feeling like they 14 years old forever. And I'm not only the Jedi pillar president, I'm also a client. the sisters have to get back on track. Y'all can go to www.pharaohrising.com to check out the herbs. That's PHARAOHRISING.com to check those herbs out and get a price and all that. A 16-ounce bottle is $30. It's a month supply. But you can go for or Essence of Nuwaup. Go to essenceofnuwaup.com. So, sisters, y'all are the original seed. Y'all have the mitochondrial DNA. The mitochondrial DNA is the DNA that is unmixed by nuclear DNA or the family DNA. The male's DNA doesn't blemish or mess up or dilute the DNA, and it's passed on only from mother to daughter. And it's a perfect ancestral record of who's who and what's what. And the Black Book Potter Bab spoke about it, and he explained how they did experiments with like 50 to 80 certain different women from all over the world and tracked all of them back to a same common ancestor because it's all inside the DNA. And we have to remember that you women have been here longer than us men. The XX chromosome is 5 times bigger than the Y chromosome. And the Y chromosome, I don't even know what they call it Y, because it looks like a piece of booger snot in a microscope. So us men deal with that another time. So sisters, y'all got y'all gotta reactivate those that original DNA, and that DNA is a code. Inside that code is everything. Everything in life. You are everything in life. You, sister. No, you. You. I know your hair not done because you're in the house looking at this on YouTube, but it's okay. It's okay. We love it. We love the kitchen. BDP, we love the kitchen. But anyway, yeah, sisters, y'all the ones. Y'all the truth. The way, the truth, and the light. We need y'all. Y'all gotta start being responsible. Having the ability to respond. Y'all gotta get clamped down with this doctrine. Y'all gotta clamp down with health, with the foods. Y'all gotta clamp down so y'all can start using the forces of nature to free our people. That's basically what it comes down to. Alright? Love y'all. Peace and blessings. PHARAOH. It's your brother Pharaoh about to sign out. I know y'all enjoy my Akfushu. Before I go, I told you a recap of the books that I want y'all to read. Drugs Masquerading Itself as Foods by Suzanne. Yeah, you definitely gotta read that. Mitochondria DNA by Pandabab Yananin. And I said Olaila Africa, Nutricide. Get in on that. You know? Trying to see something. For real. Hold on. Yeah, hold up. One of the things I wanna leave with a quote too. I'm trying to get as much knowledge, wisdom, overstand as possible when I got y'all sitting there with me. But I'm not doing no crazy long videos no more. Because I want y'all to pay attention. The dudes be doing 6-hour, 7-hour videos. Nigga, I ain't got no time for that. Nigga, I gotta sit there for a whole work day and look at you. Y'all bugging. Yeah, so listen to this quote. This by Alvin Toffler. Alvin Toffler. It says, the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. The illiterate of the 21st century are not those that cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. Because most of us have been trained and programmed by a system of destruction. And we're comfortable in our habits, and we don't want to unlearn and relearn what's right and exact for our success and progress. Sisters of the Order of PHARAOH, the mistresses of the Black Cat, get your thing together. Because them mukshafu, them witches, those white women, they coming.
When the rain is blowing in your face and the whole world is on your case, I could offer you a warm embrace to make you feel my love. You ain't even a real man anyway. When the evening shadows and the stars appear, and there is no one there to dry your tears, I could hold you for a million years to make you feel my love.
Hi, I'm a random white woman. Did you know that every year over 80,000 innocent black men are neglected, abused, battered, and even malnutritioned by undeserving women? Yes, that's right, even light-skinned black men. Cruelty does not discriminate. But together, we can make a difference.
I go crawling down the avenue. No, there's nothing.
Join us at the White Women's Society for the Prevention of Cruelty Against Black Men, the WWSPCABM, and help us rescue hundreds of defenseless black men every day. These men don't need much, just need a soft place to rest their heads. Some minutes for their cell phone plan, some ew, nah, and a pack of Newports every now and then.
No, backwards, baby.
Oh, that's right. Join us and donate today. With your contributions, white women and some white men all across America are waiting to rehabilitate these beautiful black men. Reggie, you missed a spot. And with your support, we will send you a personalized photo of a black man in the hands of a good white woman. Remember to report cruelty if you see it. Thanks to you, these black men can have a second chance at happiness. Call the number below today.
This is your brother. See you next time. On next joint I'm doing, I'm starting class 1 of 3 classes, maybe 2 or 3 classes. Wu-nuwaupian Legacy, depending on how long it runs. Wu-nuwaupian Legacy. Alright. Y'all stay focused, stay in tune, stay beautiful, stay true, stay you. We out. Wu-nuwaupian me. Exclusive. Wadu.